Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 41, Sade. Yuan Yi came to the temple gate. At this time, the temple seemed dead silent in the night, with only the wisteria incense burner burning silently in front of the door. The temple was the same as before, without the breath of ghosts. It seems that the wisteria incense burner can really drive away ghosts. Yuan Yi thought so while looking at the scene in front of him. Suddenly, Yuan Yi seemed to sense something and rushed to the woods beside him. Help! Suddenly, Yuan Yi heard a cry for help. Yuan Yi heard the cry for help but did not go forward to check directly, but felt speechless. Where did the person come from in the middle of the night? Moreover, Yuan Yi could not feel any human breath. Isn't it obvious that it was an evil ghost in disguise? But it is indeed a great threat to ordinary people. Thinking here, Yuan Yi slowly walked forward, pushed aside the bushes that blocked the view, and walked under a big tree. I saw a person being entangled in the air by vines in the shape of a tortoise shell, and kept shouting for help. Seeing the person coming, he suddenly became excited. "Sir, please save me. I was accidentally entangled by vines." Yuan Yi looked at the person in front of him and felt more certain. He wanted to complain but didn't know where to start. A person was hung on a tree in the middle of the night. Do you think normal people would climb a tree in the middle of the night? Even if they climbed a tree, how could they be entangled by vines? Do you see any vines on the trees around? And normal people climbed up this tree like this. This binding posture is too professional, right? How can someone be entangled in the tortoise-shell binding posture? Yuan Yi's forehead was full of black lines. He didn't care about the person's request for help, but slowly drew out the knife from his waist. Huh? The tied person looked at Yuan Yi and couldn't help but questioned when he saw Yuan Yi actually pulled out a knife. What do you want to do with the knife in your hand? Yuan Yi smiled but didn't smile, and his tone was very kind. I see that the vines are so tightly wrapped, I thought it would be more convenient to just use a knife. So that's it. Who would believe that? Your knife is on fire. What do you want to do? At this time, seeing Yuan Yi holding the flaming knife, the man on the tree stopped pretending and turned over to show his true form. At that time, it was a green-skinned evil ghost covered with vines. You can actually see through my perfect disguise. You still have some originality, ghost hunter. At this time, Yuan Yi snorted coldly. Bold evil ghost, I can tell at a glance that you are not a human. Just surrender. You are just a ghost hunter, don't look down on evil ghosts. As he said that, the vine ghost swung out several long thorn whips with barbs and slashed at Yuan Yi. Yuan Yi was not panicked at all and instantly swung out several flaming sword chi, which burned all the thorns to ashes the moment the sword chi touched them. Several sword chi continued to penetrate the neck of the vine ghost with undiminished power. Without any surprise, before the vine ghost could react, his neck was cut off. This guy, what's wrong with him? So strong, so unlucky, unwilling. The evil ghost was completely turned into ashes in unwillingness, and Yuan Yi's mission this time was considered completed. Next, Yuan Yi returned to the hut again and fell asleep. The next morning, Yuan Yi got up early to pack his luggage. Good morning, Grandpa. Well, you look very energetic, young man. It's good to be young, so energetic. Looking at the energetic young man in front of him, the old man was also full of emotion. Thank you for bothering me yesterday and telling me so many things. Yuan Yi wanted to thank the old man. It's okay, I should be the one to thank you. No one has been willing to listen to me, an old man, nagging for a long time. I am very willing to chat with people. The old man said happily. The old man thought to himself that although this child was a little strange, he was a polite child. Yuan Yi also thought of something. Grandpa, you said yesterday that there was a little girl among the survivors of the temple. Do you know where the little girl is now? Yuan Yi asked the old man. Oh, you're asking about that little girl. That little girl lives in the town at the foot of the mountain and makes a living by making small ornaments. It is said that the girl often makes some wisteria ornaments and gives them to passers-by for free. What do you want to do with her? Yuan Yi laughed at this time. Nothing, just a little concerned. Then I won't bother you. Goodbye, Grandpa. Oh, have a good trip. Facing the morning sunshine, Yuan Yi came to the town at the foot of the mountain. As the sun rose, some peddlers had already set up stalls on the roadside, and the constant shouting added a lot of popularity to the town. This smell is really tempting. Smelling the smell of food in the air, Yuan Yi's stomach couldn't help but growl. Let's have breakfast first. As his strength continued to increase, Yuan Yi's appetite became better, completely catching up with his master and senior sister. Yuan Yi came to a stall, looked at the steamer in front of him and shouted to the boss. Give me a basket of buns. Okay, wait, one basket. The boss was shocked. These are all big buns. Normal people only eat 2 at a time and they are full. There are more than a dozen in this basket. Can you finish them all by yourself? Don't waste food. Yuan Yi smiled and said, it's okay. I have a big appetite. Just wrap it up for me. Okay. The boss responded, and then wrapped the buns neatly. Yuan Yi paid the stall owner and sat down on a stool nearby to start eating buns. Yuan Yi swallowed a big bun in 2 or 3 bites, and the people around him were stunned one after another. How long has this kid not eaten? It didn't take long for Yuan Yi to finish the buns in his hand, wiped his hands and left the stall. Yuan Yi walked and felt the atmosphere of the market, but his hands were never empty. He held a sugar cake and a few strings of oden, enjoying the food along the way. After walking for a long time, Yuan Yi saw a girl. The girl was wearing a kimono and holding some purses in her hands. There were many small ornaments on the stall beside her. Yuan Yi wanted to get closer to the girl, and after a few steps, he smelled the fragrance of wisteria. He looked closely and saw that it came from the ornaments in the girl's hands. A little girl in her teens, ornaments, wisteria. This child should be the child of that year. Hey, Xiaoshadai, good morning, you are here to set up a stall today too. Chapter 42 Encounter. Good morning. The little girl named Seo politely greeted the person who greeted her. Seeing the passers-by, Seo immediately smiled and stepped forward to hand them a small wisteria flower ornament. Please accept this, it can bless you in the dark. The passerby thought that she was selling a product and waved her hand to refuse. Sorry, little girl, I don't need this. My friend, I advise you to accept this, otherwise she will not give up. The vendor on the side knew Seo very well and advised the passerby. Besides, little Seo will not ask you for money, just accept it as a little thought. Seo also hurriedly explained, this is free, not only it smells good, but also can bless you, so please accept it. Seeing that Seo still stubbornly wanted him to accept the purse, the passerby thought about it and took out the banknotes from his arms and handed them to Seo. I can take it, but you have to take this too. The passerby looked at the little girl in front of him. Although she looked very neat, it could be seen from her patched clothes and thin body that Seo's conditions were still quite tight, and the passerby was embarrassed to take her things for free. No, I can't take your money, Seo wanted to say something, but was choked back by the passerby's words. If you don't take the money, I don't want this purse, so you should take it. Seo returned the money to the passerby. No, I can't take your money. Then I don't want your purse either. Seeing this, the passerby returned the purse to Seo. No, you must take this. Seo stuffed the purse into the passerby again. Take the money. No, give it back to you. You must take it. Then take the money. I can't take your money. The two of them were deadlocked for a long time, and finally the passerby suddenly thought of something and walked to the stall next to Seo to take a trinket. Then consider it as the money for me to buy jewelry. Then the passerby stuffed a banknote into Seo's pocket. Well, okay then. Seo took the banknote and turned around to find change. Please wait a moment, I'll help you find the change. When Seo turned around, she found that the passerby had already left. Hey, where is he? What a stubborn child, Yuan Yi thought as he looked at the scene in front of him. This child is really stubborn. Has he always been like this? Yuan Yi asked the big brother beside him. You are from another place, right? This child is called Seo, and he is quite famous here. The vendor was obviously a local, and now there was no business, so he started chatting with Yuan Yi. This child started to set up a stall here a few years ago. We saw that she was a little girl with no one to rely on, so we wanted to help her. But little Seo was too strong-willed and rejected us every time. If little Seo didn't want to, I would have wanted to take her in as my daughter. After all, who doesn't like such a cute and strong girl? The stall owner took out a sachet from his arms, and the faint scent of wisteria surrounded the sachet. This sachet was given to me by little Seo. I guess she made this thing because she heard the legend of ghosts. After all, in the legend, wisteria can drive away ghosts. But after so many years, no one has said that they have encountered evil ghosts, so no one believes it. Now evil ghosts are just excuses to coax children not to go out at night. Although no one believes it, everyone around still accepted little Seo's gift. Accepting this also gives them an excuse to help her a little. Such a cute and kind child shouldn't be so hard. The stall owner looked at Seo not far away with his eyes full of pampering, and the other vendors were similar. Perhaps in their eyes, Seo had long been their daughter. Boss, you said that Seo came here a few years ago. Did she wander around before? According to the boss, Seo came here a few years ago. Did she come back after going out, or did she come here a few years ago? This child said that she used to be from here. She was adopted when she was 4 years old, but a few years later, the person who adopted her had an accident. Then she wandered around outside and came back here. The stall owner said this with a bit of pity in his eyes. What a miserable child. It is said that she lived in a temple on the mountain before she was 4 years old, but I heard that something happened to the temple later, and Seo was adopted after that. This child has to go up the mountain to the temple every once in a while. We are also very worried. Such a young child goes up the mountain alone. It would be bad if something happened. The mountain is not so peaceful now. After listening to the stall owner's words, Yuan Yi has completely confirmed that Seo in front of him is the child once adopted by Himehime Kume. I think what the girl said makes sense. Who knows if there are ghosts in this world? If there are, wouldn't this sachet come in handy? Yuan Yi muttered to himself and reminded the vendor before leaving. Are children nowadays so strange? It was obviously the old people who were superstitious in the past. Hearing Yuan Yi's words, the vendor couldn't help but feel a little regretful. He touched his head casually and put the sachet in his hand away. Yuan Yi slowly approached Seo's stall. Seo also found the unfamiliar face at this time, so she appeared in front of Yuan Yi in the blink of an eye. Please accept this, it can bless you with peace. Okay, thank you, little girl. Yuan Yi smiled and accepted Seo's sachet. Knowing that Seo would not accept money, Yuan Yi walked to the stall on the side. Little girl, I want to buy some accessories. Do you have any recommendations? Looking at Seo in front of him, Yuan Yi also wanted to help her as much as he could. Okay, sir, which one do you want? Well, for girls, purple is best. Okay, how about these? I'll pack whichever one you like. Yuan Yi was choosing with difficulty, and finally seemed to have made up his mind. These look good to me, pack them all for me. Yuan Yi waved his hand and was about to buy all the accessories. Saya was shocked by the generosity of the person in front of her, and then suddenly realized that the customer in front of her was sympathizing with her and wanted to help her in this way. Sir. Saya was interrupted by Yuan Yi before she could speak. Actually, I have a friend who is always hated by others because he can't speak. I thought that if he gave these beautiful accessories to others, maybe others would not hate him anymore. Yuan Yi sold Tomioka Gyu casually. This is also to help this child. Mr. Tomioka will definitely not mind. At this time, Tomioka Gyu on the other side. Tomioka Gyu suddenly sneezed and rubbed his nose. Tomioka Gyu had no expression on his face. Is anyone thinking about me? As expected, I am not hated. Tomioka Gyu's mood suddenly improved, and the corners of his mouth rose by 2 pixels. Chapter 43 Sin. Yuan Yi looked at the little girl who was helping him pack the goods and asked tentatively. I heard from others that your name is Seo, right? Well, I lived here when I was a child. Although I have no relatives, the people here are like my family. Seo said with a smile. Then may I ask if you know Himehime Kume? He used to live in a temple on the mountain. Seo was stunned when she heard this. Teacher, from Beimingyu. Seo, who came to her senses, suddenly grabbed Yuan Yi's sleeve. Yuan looked at Seo in front of him, and his petite body couldn't help trembling. Customer, do you know Mr. Baemingyu? Sure enough. Looking at Seo's expression, Yuan knew that he had found the right person. Yuan looked around and said to Seo, let's chat somewhere else. There are so many people here. I don't know if they think I'm bullying you. Seo was very uneasy at this time, because she couldn't let go of Himehime Kume in her heart. It was Xingming who protected her in the temple, but she failed to prove Xingming's innocence. That man is a monster. He killed everyone. This sentence was said by the 4-year-old girl. She was curled up in the corner of the temple, blood and corpses were all over the floor, and she covered her eyes and dared not look. Even when the police came later, she did not dare to open her eyes. She only dared to say this sentence with her eyes closed, but she never thought that the adults would regard Xingming as the murderer. The murderer she mentioned had long turned into ashes in the sun, leaving only Himehime Kume covered in blood and wounds. After she finished talking about the murderer, she fainted because of fear and exhaustion. When she woke up again, she heard the news that Xingming was going to be executed. The young girl was terrified and hurried to find an adult to explain the truth, but when the adult heard the ghost's information, he only thought that the child was mentally disturbed due to excessive fear, and still decided to execute the death penalty. At the same time, a family also expressed their willingness to adopt Seo and take her away from here before the execution. But Seo was always worried about Xingming, and she inquired about Xingming's news every day. When the news came, it was that Xingming was about to be executed. The young Seo naturally thought that Xingming might be dead, which made her feel extremely shocked. After all, in some sense, Xingming was her closest family. When she was homeless and wandering around, it was Xingming who adopted her, taught her carefully and loved her. The time in the temple was the most unforgettable memory of her life. Seo also respected Xingming very much, and she thought that such days would continue forever. But in the end, it turned into a bubble that night, and her closest person was indirectly killed by herself. Even if it was not her wish, it happened because of her. Obviously, teacher Xingming was the future, so she fought with the evil spirit for one night, but every night after that, she could dream of her companions who died tragically many times, accusing her of why she killed Xingming. During that time, she was always in a trance, and even her adoptive parents took her to see a doctor. It didn't help. It was not until she heard from afar that Xingming had mysteriously disappeared before the execution that her spirit recovered a little. After that, she was always cautious in her life, never did anything wrong, and became someone else's child in the eyes of others. She just didn't want to disappoint her adoptive parents. As a child of the temple, she had not been able to do anything for Xingming before, and in the end, she disappointed Xingming. Days passed one by one, but the passing time did not dilute this matter. The guilt and uneasiness in her heart had already taken deep root. Until her adoptive parents died, Seo returned to the town again, and with the skills she learned, she could barely make a living. But Seo often went to the temple in the mountains to look for traces of Xingming. She hoped to meet Xingming again there and apologize to him in person. Xingming longed for redemption in this incident, but so did Seo. That night had completely turned into her nightmare. Only when she gave away the wisteria flower ornaments did she feel a little relieved. Please follow me. Seo took Yuan to a small house not far away. The house was relatively simple, but it looked very simple. Seo brought 2 cups of hot tea from next door and invited Yuan to sit down. At this time, Seo asked impatiently, "Excuse me, do you know Mr. Xingming? Where is he now? How is he doing?" Yuan asked Seo to calm down first, and after seeing Seo calm down, he said, "Mr. Xingming has now joined an organization that fights against ghosts. The ghost is the monster you met when you were 4 years old. He is now very respected in the organization and protects ordinary people from the invasion of evil ghosts." "Is that so? That's good." Seo clenched her hands tightly, wanting to say something but embarrassed to speak. After a moment of silence, he continued to say to Yuan, "Excuse me, where is Mr. Xingming now? Can I see him? I want to think about him, thank you and apologize." After hearing what Shaddai said, Yuan also fell silent, and then said to Shaddai, "I can't be sure of Mr. Xingming's whereabouts, nor can I make a decision for Mr. Xingming. The incident back then was a huge blow to Mr. Xingming, and even forced Mr. Xingming into a desperate situation. I can't guarantee whether Mr. Xingming is willing to see you. Hearing this, Shadai's little face turned pale, and tears fell like pearls. Yuan Yi saw that Shadai suddenly cried and began to panic. Don't cry, it's not that there is no chance. I know. After that night, I no longer have the qualifications to see Mr. Xingming. If I had expressed it more clearly at that time, if I could open my eyes and look at Mr. Xingming again. If I could be stronger. Shadai's voice became choked, and her tone became lower and lower. This is all my fault. If it weren't for me, Mr. Xingming wouldn't have almost died. If I had stood firmly in front of Mr. Xingming and explained to him. Looking at Seo Yui in front of him, he could only wipe away her tears helplessly and comforted her softly. Write a letter to Mr. Xingming. I can give the letter to Mr. Xingming. Mr. Xingming is a gentle person. I believe he has been waiting for this day for a long time. There are many misunderstandings in this matter, but it is this misunderstanding that has created so much sadness and tortured both of them. Himehime Kume feels pain all the time because of this matter, so she keeps crying, and Seo is also trapped in nightmares because of this. If this misunderstanding can be completely resolved, both of their heart diseases can be cured. Seo's tears have been wiped away by Yuan Yi, and he is determined to clear up the misunderstanding. I understand, I must explain it clearly to Teacher Xingming, even if Teacher Xingming no longer wants to see me. Let Seo write a letter for two reasons. One is to consider Xingming's mood, and the other is that Seo is such a child, and Yuan Yi is worried about going to the Demon Slayer Corps alone. The location of the Demon Slayer Corps is top secret, so he can only communicate with Xingming first. If possible, Yuan Yi still hopes that Seo can join the Demon Slayer Corps. Of course, ordinary girls are not suitable for fighting. Butterfly House is very suitable for a kind and strong child like Seo. With the care of Butterfly House people, plus the treatment is not bad, at least there is no need to worry about life. Of course, all this must be chosen by little Seo herself. Chapter 44 Goodbye Zenitsu. Excuse me. Saya handed the letter in her hand to Yuan Yi. Well, I will definitely pass the letter to Mr. Xingming as soon as possible, don't worry. Yuan Yi smiled and touched Seo's head, and suddenly invited Seo. Miss Seo, why don't you join the Demon Slayer Corps, the organization where Mr. Xingming is? Hey, Demon Slayer Corps. Me. Saya was a little surprised by the sudden invitation, but then shook her head and refused. I have no plans to leave here for the time being. Besides, I am just an ordinary person and can't fight demons like you. No need to fight demons. Yuan Yi thought Seo thought that joining the Demon Slayer Corps meant fighting demons. You can join the logistics of the Demon Slayer Corps. Basically, the Demon Slayer Corps can guarantee any dangers in life. If you join, I can recommend you to work in the Butterfly House, which is actually a hospital, and the salary is also good. This way you don't have to worry about your life. Sorry. Saya refused Yuan Yi again. I am not qualified to appear in front of Mr. Xingming now, so I will not consider leaving here until Mr. Xingming forgives me. Thank you very much for your kindness. Saya thanked Yuan Yi again. It doesn't matter. What you are doing now is also to help fight against evil spirits. There is no need to apologize to me. Yuan Yi respected Seo's choice and did not mention joining the Demon Slayer Corps again. After chatting for a long time, Yuan Yi was about to leave. Saya and Yuan Yi returned to the stall again. Sorry, Mr. Yuan Yi, please deliver the letter. Give it to me. Speaking of which, Mr. Xingming is blind, and someone needs to read the letter for him. Yuan Yi put the letter away and said goodbye to Seo. After leaving the town, Yuan Yi also began to return to the Demon Slayer Corps. Near noon, Yuan Yi rushed to the foot of a mountain. The mountain was planted with peach trees all over the mountain, and the scenery looked pleasant. Hey, brother Yuan Yi. A familiar voice came, and Yuan Yi turned around and saw that it was Zenitsu. Zenitsu, why are you here? Brother Yuan Yi, this is my grandfather's home. I'll stop by to see him after I complete my mission. Suddenly, Zenitsu seemed to think of something. Brother Yuan Yi, come up the mountain with me. I'll introduce you to him. Oh, is it the former sound pillar Kawajima Jigoro? This is the only person Zenitsu can call his grandfather. Yeah, although my grandfather was very strict with me during training, he was very caring towards me at ordinary times. No matter how talented I am, he never gave up on me. Zenitsu nodded and said, with a look of nostalgia in his eyes. I haven't visited my grandfather for a long time since I officially joined the Demon Slayer Corps. I don't know how my grandfather is doing. Then Yuan Yi accepted Zenitsu's invitation and went up the mountain with Zenitsu. The two climbed up the mountain along the mountain road, and the unique scent of peach trees surrounded them along the way. The air here is so good. That is, Yuan Yi, who was admiring the surrounding scenery, suddenly found something, which was a somewhat charred peach tree. Some green buds sprouted from the charred trunk. What a tenacious tree. It can survive even though it's almost charcoaled, right, Zenitsu? Yeah, Zenitsu replied unnaturally. Zenitsu certainly remembered this tree. After all, it was on this tree that he was struck by lightning, which caused his hair to turn golden. So it seems that I am also very tenacious. I can survive being struck by lightning. Walking along the path in the mountains, the two soon came to a small house. Zenitsu excitedly went forward and knocked on the door. Grandpa, I'm back to see you. But suddenly the door of the room opened suddenly, and a black shadow suddenly knocked Zenitsu to the ground. Looking closely, the black shadow was a short old man with white hair and scars on his face. The difference was that he had a wooden prosthesis installed on his right leg. Grandpa, what are you doing? Grandpa, The old man did not answer Zenitsu, but picked up a wooden stick and hit Zenitsu. Why did you come back, you naughty boy? Did you come back without permission? The old man who spoke was Kawajima Jigoro. Kawajima Jigoro said this with a look of disappointment while hitting Zenitsu with a wooden stick. Senior Kawashima. Yuan Yi saw this and hurriedly stopped Kawajima Jigoro. You misunderstood. Zenitsu just finished his mission and came to visit you. Yuan Yi stood in front of Zenitsu and explained to Kawajima Jigoro. Yes, I came to visit you because I haven't seen Grandpa for a long time, woo. Kawajima Jigoro's eyes turned into small eyes when he heard Yuan Yi's words. The wooden stick in his hand fell to the ground, and he looked at Yuan Yi and then at Zenitsu who was crying on the ground. Zenitsu. Kawajima Jigoro picked up Zenitsu. Are you okay, Zenitsu? Does it hurt? Sorry, Grandpa misunderstood you. Looking at the aggrieved look of Zenitsu in his arms, Kawajima Jigoro was also embarrassed. After a long time, Kawajima Jigoro finally coaxed Zenitsu, and the three of them went into the house and sat down together. Grandpa, this is my brother Yuan Yi, also the Yaoju of the Demon Slayer Corps. Brother Yuan Yi, this is my grandpa. Zenitsu looked at Kawajima Jigoro with a little resentment at this time, and was obviously very dissatisfied with Kawajima Jigoro's behavior just now. You are the new pillar. It is said that you are a genius that is rare in 1,000 years, you are really young. Kawajima Jigoro did not dare to look at Zenitsu at this time, and greeted Yuan Yi after ignoring the resentment. Although he has withdrawn from the front line of the Demon Slayer Corps, as a trainer, he is still well informed about the news of the Demon Slayer Corps, and naturally knows the basic information of Yuan Yi. His news on the spot caused an uproar in the Demon Slayer Corps. In the initial selection, he killed all the demons in the whole mountain by himself, and then he killed the lower rank demon in 1 month and was promoted to the pillar of the Demon Slayer Corps, breaking the record of the fastest promotion to the pillar of the Demon Slayer Corps. Not long after, he also defeated Doma, the second upper rank demon, and by the way, he killed all the remaining lower rank demons. He even disclosed his secret skills such as the stripes to the Demon Slayer Corps for free. This made Kawajima Jigoro very interested in the influential figure of Zenitsu, and Zenitsu became Zenitsu's stepson, which made him want to meet the pillar of the Demon Slayer Corps even more. Today, Zenitsu came back to see him and brought Zenitsu with him, which was a double happiness. Chapter 45 Kawajima Jigoro. Senior Kawajima, you are too kind. I am just an ordinary person. I am a member of the Demon Slayer Corps like everyone else. Yuan Yi felt a little embarrassed when he heard Kawajima Jigoro praising him so much. Kawajima Jigoro smiled and said when he saw Yuan Yi's reaction, don't be modest. After all, not everyone can become a pillar. Besides, even the upper strings were defeated by you. It's impolite to be too modest. I really envy Rengoku Kyujiro. He accepted 2 disciples in total, and both of them became pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps. It's really a family of 3 heroes. Zenitsu must fight for it. Now that he is the stepson of the Yo Pillar, he must not lose the face of the Yo Pillar. Of course I know about this kind of thing. Zenitsu muttered aside. Don't worry about this, Kawajima-senpai. Although Zenitsu is timid, he trains very hard and can complete tasks on his own now. His talent is not inferior to others. He is a good boy. Ah, really? That's really gratifying. Kawajima Jigoro was also very excited when he heard this. After all, he was most worried about his disciple. He was worried that he would be bullied outside and that something would happen outside. Now that Zenitsu has been recognized by the current pillar, he is so happy. Speaking of which, I used my brain a lot when I trained Zenitsu before. Kawajima Jigoro also opened up and started talking about Zenitsu's dark history. At that time, Zenitsu was a crybaby. He was very resistant to training. He even thought about how to escape many times. In order to prevent him from escaping, I secretly set up many traps in the mountains. As a result, every time Zenitsu escaped, he would be caught in the trap. It's incredible that he can train hard now. Speaking of Zenitsu when he was a child, Kawajima Jigoro's eyes also showed a nostalgic expression. You know, Zenitsu's hair is not actually golden. It's just that one time, Zenitsu ran to a tree to escape training, and a thunderbolt suddenly struck him, and Zenitsu's hair turned into the current color. I was scared at that time, but fortunately, only the color of his hair changed. Oh, is that charred tree on the mountain the place where Zenitsu was struck? Yuan Yi asked curiously. Yes, at that time. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Zenitsu couldn't listen anymore at this time, and turned around and walked out the door. Zenitsu thought of his miserable self in Kawajima Jigoro's words. No matter how he ran away, he couldn't escape. He would be caught and taught a lesson every time, and he would encounter a trap from time to time. It is estimated that Zenitsu's sensitive hearing was trained here. Ahem. Watching Zenitsu fleeing away, Kawajima Jigoro also knew that he had said too much. Yuan Yi said, "It sounds good. I love it. Say more. Let's not talk about this for now. You must be hungry after running around for so long. It's time to eat. Wait a minute, I'll go cook. You can eat here and rest before leaving." Kawajima Jigoro walked into the kitchen and started to prepare lunch. By the way, it's the season to eat peaches now. The peach trees on the mountain have also borne fruit. It's good to eat them. It would be great to bring some for others to taste later. Kawajima Jigoro's voice came from the kitchen. I know. Thank you, Senior Kawashima. Yuani responded and walked out of the cabin. When he came to the forest, large tracts of peach forests appeared in front of Yuani. The trees were full of fruits, which looked very tempting. Zenitsu was also resting under a tree at this time. Yuani approached and found that Zenitsu had been mumbling something. He smiled when he got closer. Grandpa is such a jerk. He was so happy to see me, but he beat me up as soon as we met. My body still hurts. It's okay to beat me, but why did he tell brother Yuani about my dark history? Don't you care about my dignity? Zenitsu complained while touching the place where he was beaten. Senior Kawashima didn't mean it. If you hadn't behaved like that before, Senior Kawashima wouldn't have thought you had defected when he saw you. Yuani touched Zenitsu's head while holding back his smile. Really, no matter how timid I am, I wouldn't do something that would embarrass Grandpa. Grandpa is really. Zenitsu sighed when he heard that. He used to run away a few times a day, a few hundred times a year, so why? Okay. In that case, I'm going to change Grandpa's impression of me. I'm going to clear my name. I've been reborn. No matter how hard it is, no matter how scared I am, I will definitely become stronger. Zenitsu suddenly became enthusiastic, and the fighting spirit in his heart seemed to burst out in an instant. Looking at Zenitsu in front of him, Yuani was also relieved. Zenitsu finally grew up. Wiping away a handful of non-existent tears, Yuani was also full of pride at this time. Okay. As your master, I will definitely train you well. This time, the training volume will be doubled. Burn your youth for me. Zenitsu. ... Hearing this, Zenitsu suddenly fell silent, which reminded him of the training given to him by Yuani. He is not Brother Yuan, right? Devil. Yes. Devil. A devil in the skin of Brother Yuan. I don't believe that Brother Yuan would be so cruel. Zenitsu stood there in silence, as if he was poured with a basin of cold water. After a long time, he turned around and said slowly, "Let's go pick peaches first." Zenitsu walked into the peach forest with an expressionless face, which made Yuan a little puzzled. He was fine just now, why did he suddenly become listless now? Yuan didn't think much about it, and silently made a training plan and walked forward with Zenitsu. Wow, the peaches are growing really well this year. Zenitsu began to climb the tree and pick peaches. In the blink of an eye, the big peaches filled the basket. Such good peaches must be given to Nezuko and the others to taste. Zenitsu seemed to have thought of something, and a wretched expression began to occupy Zenitsu's face. Seeing this, Yuan slapped Zenitsu back to reality. Don't be timid. Not long after, Zenitsu and Yuan picked peaches, and the two walked towards Kawajima Jigero's house together. When Yuan and the others came back, lunch was ready. At this time, Kawajima also went out and shouted to the two. Hey, it's time to eat. The two couldn't help but speed up their pace. Zenitsu, eat more. Kawajima Jigero brought the steaming hot rice to Zenitsu, and then poured another bowl for Yuan. The three of them finished the lunch calmly and warmly. After the meal, the few people started chatting. By the way, Zenitsu, have you seen Kaigaku's kid? I haven't heard from him in a while. Chapter 46 Concealment. Zenitsu, have you seen Kaigaku? I haven't heard from him for a long time. Kawajima Jigero took a sip of tea and asked Zenitsu about Kaigaku. Brother. Zenitsu and Yuan were stunned when they heard Kaigaku's name. I seem to have seen him when I first joined the Demon Slayer Corps, but I didn't talk to him. Maybe brother is very busy recently, so I can't find him for the time being. Yuani's expression was a little weird. After all, Kaigaku had defected, but this matter must not be told to the two people present. That's right. At this time, Zenitsu sighed. After all, brother is so talented and so strong. He must be able to help many people, and he must be hunting down evil spirits every day. But Zenitsu was still a little dissatisfied with Kaigaku, not because he used to bully him, but because Kaigaku had never returned to the mountains to visit his grandfather for so long, not even a letter. Actually, it wasn't that he didn't talk to Kaigaku when he met him before, but Kaigaku didn't want to talk to him at all, and finally passed by him pretending not to know him. Once Zenitsu saw someone belittling Kaigaku, he would go up to debate with others, and finally got a lesson, but Kaigaku not only didn't comfort Zenitsu after knowing it, but instead mocked Zenitsu and said he was meddling in other people's business. Zenitsu didn't want to tell Kawajima Jigero this, because he didn't want to disappoint his grandfather. Zenitsu, have you picked peaches? It's better to bring more. Well, my friends and my seniors are all ready. Kawajima Jigero also smiled and said, that's good, you and Kaigaku should get along well, and then become better and better. Kawajima Jigero encouraged, it doesn't matter if you really can't do it, as long as you are safe. If you are really tired, come back to Grandpa, this will always be your home. Zenitsu, you will always be Grandpa's pride. Kawajima Jigero has always had a special feeling for Zenitsu. When he took Zenitsu home, he wanted to train Zenitsu into an excellent ghost hunter. But as they got along for a long time, Kawajima Jigero's mentality changed. Unlike training Kaigaku, he gradually regarded Zenitsu as his own grandson. Although Zenitsu was timid by nature, the kindness in his heart was enough to cover up his shortcomings. Yuan Yi was also quite touched when watching this scene. In turn, I want to conclude that this Kaigaku is really a piece of shit. Even in such an environment, he has never changed his selfish character. It seems that Kaigaku worshipped Kawajima Jigero as his teacher in order to join the Demon Slayer Corps. Now after learning the breathing method, he has basically severed his relationship with his mentor and can't even visit him. Yuan didn't intend to let Kaigaku go, nor did he intend to tell Zenitsu and the others about this, not now, and not in the future. If Kawajima Jigero really knew about this, he would definitely go to an extreme result based on his temperament. This is what Yuan didn't want to see, and it's also what Kagaya and the others didn't want to see. Kaigaku was wrong, and Kawajima Jigero and the others shouldn't be affected. I heard from Zenitsu that he was taken care of by you during the final selection. I'm here as a grandfather to thank you for taking care of him. Kawajima Jigoro said to Yuan. No, in fact, I didn't take care of him very much. He can get to where he is today because of his own strength. Besides, it's my duty to take care of him. I'm his elder brother in age, and I'm his master in status. So I should take care of him. Yuan said to Kawajima Jigoro with a smile. Well, if Zenitsu can also become a pillar, then I guess I can wake up with a smile in my dreams. I really hope to see that day. Kawajima Jigoro's eyes were full of longing. That day will come, it will definitely come. Zenitsu, who was washing dishes in the kitchen, silently clenched his fists. In the afternoon, Zenitsu and Yuan said goodbye to Kawajima Jigoro under the charred tree. Grandpa, goodbye. Zenitsu waved his hands vigorously to say goodbye to Kawajima Jigoro. Senior Kawashima, we will come again. Kawajima Jigoro also shouted at the two people who were gradually leaving. Zenitsu, remember to eat on time. Take care of yourself. Grandpa will always be here waiting for the day when you become a pillar, so, come on. Zenitsu. Hearing what Kawajima Jigoro said, Zenitsu also turned around and shouted. I know, Grandpa. I will definitely bring my future wife back to see you. Hearing Zenitsu's answer, Kawajima Jigoro was suddenly stunned for a moment, and then laughed and scolded. This stinky boy, but I'm waiting for the day when you get married and have children. Looking at Zenitsu's gradually disappearing back, Kawajima Jigoro also slowly turned around and walked towards the hut. Zenitsu has really grown up. Hey, brother Yuan, what are we going to do now? Let's go back to the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters first. There are some things that need to be dealt with. The two returned to the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters together. Yuan asked Zenitsu to send Momoko out, and he went to the headquarters to meet Kagaya. These are the details of this mission, so I hope to pass this letter to Mr. Shingming. Yuan handed the letter in his arms to Kagaya. I understand, thank you for your hard work, Yuan. Kagaya said with a smile. Maybe this will help Shingming untie his knot. On the other side, Butterfly House. Let me go. Let her go. At this time, a big man in gorgeous clothes grabbed the girl with one hand and was about to walk out the door. The three little ones in Butterfly House desperately threw themselves on him to stop him from leaving. Hey, I'm taking her away to carry out the mission. This is her duty as a swordsman of the Demon Slayer Corps. This person is the gorgeous brother Sound Pillar Tengen Uzui. Let go of that girl. Zenitsu, who came to Butterfly House happily to deliver peaches, exploded when he saw this scene. What are you doing, you B***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** kidnapper, and he wants to kidnap us. What? A kidnapper? Zenitsu rushed towards Uzui Tengen like crazy. Hey, what's wrong with all the people here? Just when he was about to throw Zenitsu away, he found that there were 2 more people on him. Bullying a few girls is nothing, come and fight with me. Please let go of your hands. It was Inosuke and Tanjiro who had returned from the mission. What a hassle. One by one, Uzui Tengen was also overwhelmed by the increasing number of people on him. Chapter 47, Misunderstanding Resolved. Let me go. My next mission requires female members who can sneak into the Flower Street. As a pillar, I have the right to mobilize them. Uzui Tengen explained to everyone helplessly. But she is not a swordsman of the Demon Slayer Corps. She doesn't even have a uniform. The 3 sisters retorted angrily. Uzui Tengen looked at the girl he caught and saw that she was indeed one. Then I don't want her. He let go of the little girl and let her fall. Xiao Sui. Others hurriedly hugged Xiao Sui, who fell to the ground. And Miss Kanzaki Aoi, let her go. At this time, Uzui Tengen also began to become impatient. You little devils, stop getting ahead of me. As a swordsman of the Demon Slayer Corps, you have to complete the mission and hunt down evil demons. If you can't even kill demons, what kind of swordsman is the Demon Slayer Corps? Kanzaki Aoi, who was carried on Uzui Tengen's shoulders, was struggling in her heart. She joined the Demon Slayer Corps because of her hatred for demons, but after passing the final selection, she became afraid of fighting demons and could only become a logistics staff in the Butterfly House. It has always been her heart not that she can't go to the battlefield to avenge her parents. Although she still hasn't overcome her fear, if she is taken away by Uzui Tengen like this, can she change this situation? At this time, Yuan also came to the butterfly house and happened to see this scene. Isn't this Mr. Uzui Tengen? Yuan looked at the quarreling people with a puzzled look. Ah, what are you doing? Oh, isn't this Yaoju? Uzui Tengen, who was having a headache, seemed to have seen a savior. You should take care of these little ghosts, they have been interfering with my work, and these guys are your stepsons. In short, calm down first. Yuan Yi comforted everyone present. Tanjiro, Inosuke and Zenitsu, you guys come down too. So you want to find a few girls to investigate evil spirits in the Flower Street. After listening to Uzui Tengen's explanation, Yuan Yi also understood what happened. But Mr. Uzui Tengen, don't force girls to do this kind of thing, it's not gorgeous at all. Besides, Mr. Uzui, Yuan Yi changed the subject at this time. You should know that there are only so many people in the butterfly house now, and Miss Kanzaki Aoi gets up early and stays up late every day to take care of the injured swordsman. Even the soldiers have to eat, drink, defecate and urinate. It's very hard every day. Everyone has their own areas of expertise and responsibility. You can't force those who are not good at fighting to join the battle. Uzui Tengen was still a little unconvinced. But then let me ask you a question. Yuan Yi looked at Uzui Tengen seriously. What's the question? Your wives should be strong, right? Of course, they are all well-trained ninjas, and ordinary ghosts can't get close to them. That's the problem. Yuan Yi slapped his thigh fiercely. Even if your wives have lost contact there, letting a swordsman who is still a novice in ghost hunting rashly join will only cause trouble. Uzui Tengen was speechless at this time, but still asked Yuan Yi. If they don't go, what about the mission? Yuan Yi suddenly looked Uzui Tengen up and down, and Uzui Tengen got goosebumps all over his body. Are you thinking about something bad? No, but I heard that Mr. Uzui Tengen is also a ninja, so your disguise skills should be very good, right? Then it shouldn't be difficult to make a man look like a woman. Uzui Tengen's eyelids jumped when he heard Yuan Yi's words. Are you serious? How can there be a woman with muscles and a height of 8 feet? How about I make you look like a woman? I think you have good conditions. Yuan Yi calmly waved his hand when he heard it. Who said you should do it yourself? Don't you see that there are ready-made ones here? Yuan Yi looked at the 3 children on the side meaningfully. Hey, women, us. The 3 children watching the show on the side were suddenly confused. Isn't this bad? We are men who stand tall and proud. Zenitsu protested on the side. Stand tall and proud. Zenitsu. I don't want to pretend to be a woman. If I were you, I would just charge into that Flower Street and kill all the demons. Well, calm down. After all, there are not many female swordsmen in the Demon Slayer Corps. It's still very dangerous to let Miss Aoi and the others go now. Zenitsu, you don't want to see them get hurt, do you? I'm talking to you, Zenitsu, there are many girls in the Flower Street. Are you really not going? Yuan Yi smiled and hinted to Zenitsu. Zenitsu was finally moved and began to look forward to this mission. Then you guys come with me. Remember not to disobey my orders, and follow my command in all actions. Uzui Tengen finally put Kanzaki Aoi down and walked out of the butterfly house with Tanjiro and the other 2. Yuan Yi followed them. Huh, Yaoju, what are you doing with me? Oh, I just finished the mission and have nothing to do. Of course, I have to take care of my lovely disciples. Whatever you want, it's a good opportunity to help me. Uzui Tengen couldn't do anything with Yuan Yi. Yuan Yi. A voice came from behind. Yuan Yi turned around and saw Himehime Kume with tears in her eyes. Ah, it's Mr. Xingming, did you receive the letter? Yuan Yi said hello to Xingming. Mr. Uzui Tengen, please leave first. I will come to support you if I have time. I will leave these 3 little guys to you. Tanjiro, Zenitsu and Inosuke, listen carefully to the words of the sound pillar. Yuan Yi told the 3 little ones. Yes. Then Yuan Yi and Xingming walked aside. Thank you, Yuan Yi, I have received the letter. Is that so? Have you asked someone to read it? What do you think? At this time, Himehime Kume's eyes kept crying, and it was obvious that he was in a very complicated mood. When he received the letter, he looked incredible. He never thought that he could get a letter from the child. Then he asked a team member to read the letter for him. In the letter, Seo told what happened that year, and then most of the content was to apologize to Xingming, and thank Xingming for protecting her at the time, and hope to meet Xingming to thank and apologize in person. When Xingming read half of the letter, he could no longer control his emotions. Everything he did that year was not in vain. He just misunderstood Seo. The child was not a weak and despicable existence. As for the fact that he was imprisoned for this, it was completely unimportant. Compared with imprisonment, Xingming cared more about the opinion of the child he protected at the risk of his life. When Seo said in the letter that she wanted to meet him, Himehime Kyume was a little panicked for the first time. He didn't hate Seo and didn't want to meet her, but Xingming had always misunderstood Seo, which made him feel ashamed to face Seo. Xingming, who couldn't figure it out, could only seek Yuan Yi's advice. How is little Seo doing now? Xingming could only tentatively ask about Seo's current situation. Seo's letter was full of concern for Xingming, but she kept silent about her own situation. Seo is now selling her handmade jewelry in the town at the foot of the mountain, which is the mountain where Mr. Xingming lived when he was a monk. She has been living there for the past few years. Although her life is hard, the people around her take good care of her. Yuan Yi took out a sachet from his arms, which was given to him by Seo. But what happened back then was a big blow to Seo, so she has been making wisteria ornaments and giving them to passers-by over the years. She believes that this is the only way to make up for the sins of the past. She has been living there, and every once in a while she will go to the temple to look for Mr. Xingming. Yuan Yi put the sachet in Xingming's hand. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. At this time, Xingming couldn't help himself, and 2 lines of tears ran down his face. What a pitiful, kind child. Is little Seo still waiting for me there? The familiar memory once again appeared in Xingming's mind, and at this time, the sound of the fountain of life sounded again in Xingming's dry heart. The voices and smiles of those children kept reappearing in Xingming's mind. In a small temple in the mountains, the little children were talking about their future. I will definitely become a great doctor in the future and will definitely be able to cure Mr. Xingming's eyes. Then Mr. Xingming will be able to see us. Of course, if other partners are sick, I can also help you cure them. Me too, I will become a great businessman, make a lot of money, so that everyone can live in a big house, and then everyone can have a big meal every day, eat well, and Mr. Xingming can also eat strong. Himehime Kyume, who was among them, felt that his heart was about to melt when he heard the children imagine their future. Although he could not see the children's appearance, the innocent and overflowing smiles also deeply moved him. The other children also smiled happily. The poor living environment did not make them lose their vision for the future, but instead they had more motivation to rush towards the future. Awesome. The other children were amazed when they heard the dreams of these children. They had not thought of these yet. What does Seo-chan wish for? A child asked the 4-year-old Seo-chan. Yes. What does Seo-chan want to do in the future? The other children also cheered. Seo was sandwiched between them. She was a little embarrassed at first, until she looked at Xingming and spoke softly. I want to live with everyone forever, and stay with Teacher Xingming forever. Hey, what kind of wish is this? Isn't this natural? Don't you want to do anything else besides this? Well, I also want to learn handicrafts, so that I can make some clothes for Teacher Xingming, and things for monks. Now Teacher Xingming has been wearing old clothes and doesn't even have decent furniture. Seo was a little embarrassed at this time, because compared with others, her wish at this time seemed so insignificant. This wish seems so small. Seo, why don't you think about it again? Some children think Seo's wish is too small. It's not small. Seo's wish is also very good. A little girl came out to refute it this time. When the wish comes true, you must make me a beautiful little piece of jewelry. The little girl said to Seo with a smile. That's right, no matter whether it is a big wish or a small wish, as long as you can fulfill your dream, the teacher will sincerely bless you. Well, I will definitely let everyone wear beautiful jewelry at that time. But we are boys. What does it matter? The innocent smiles of the children echoed in the small temple. The scenes of the past seemed to be replayed in Xingming's eyes, but the old friends were gone, leaving only loneliness and sadness. At this time, Xingming burst into tears, but at this time he began to let go. I really want to see them again. If possible, I really want to be with them forever. Yuan Yi. I want to see her. But, Xingming began to turn the rosary in his hand, as if each one represented a child. In Xingming's mind, he kept imagining the faces of the children. What kind of people are they? Kind, honest, handsome, beautiful, gentle. The children were all there, smiling happily, as if they had always been together. Please give this to Seo. Xingming handed the rosary in his hand to Yuanyi. Aren't you going to meet Seo? Seeing Xingming's behavior, Yuanyi felt a little confused. He wanted to see Seo very much, but he still held back. No. I'm not ready yet. Now I just know that she is doing well. Please help me send a letter to her. Don't blame yourself for what happened back then. Yuanyi looked at the twisted Xingming in front of him and understood, so he said to Xingming. I will help you pass it on, then tell me about Seo joining the Demon Slayer Corps. Xingming was stunned at first, and then suddenly reacted. Seo. Demon Slayer Corps. No. Seo is still young. And a weak girl doesn't have much strength, no. Xingming refused again and again. Mr. Xingming, calm down. I'm planning to let Seo go to Butterfly House as a logistics staff. It's safe and has a guaranteed life there, so it should be suitable for Seo. Butterfly House. Xingming nodded when he heard that. Butterfly House was no problem. In fact, I invited Seo to join the Butterfly House of the Demon Slayer Corps before, but she refused because she wanted to apologize to Mr. Xingming. Now that Mr. Xingming has resolved the misunderstanding, Seo should be able to join the Demon Slayer Corps without any worries. I'll trouble you with the letter. As for joining the Demon Slayer Corps, Xingming looked up at the sky, and the tears on his face finally disappeared. I respect Seo's choice. If she doesn't want to join the Demon Slayer Corps, I will support her choice. I understand. Then Yuanyi waited for Xingming to finish the letter, gave the sachet to Xingming, and then left the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters with Ding Xiang. Because this mission was completed very quickly, there was still plenty of time. Chapter 48 Flower Street. Yuanyi went to the town where Seo was alone, and finally delivered the letter to Seo before sunset. At this time, the street gradually became quiet, and Seo was ready to close the stall and go home. Miss Seo. Yuanyi slowly walked in front of Seo. Mr. Yuanyi. Could it be? In Seo's hopeful eyes, Yuanyi took out the letter from his arms. This is what Mr. Xingming asked me to pass on to you. Mr. Xingming's misunderstanding has been resolved. He told you not to care about what happened at that time. Seo slowly opened the letter in her hand with trembling hands, and burst into tears when she saw the content inside. Teacher Xingming, Yuanyi looked at Seo crying in front of him and didn't know how to comfort her, so he could only accompany her all the time. After a long time, Seo finally controlled her emotions. Yuanyi saw that the time was right and invited Seo again. Ms. Seo, are you willing to join the Demon Slayer Corps now? No. Unexpectedly, Seo rejected Yuanyi's invitation again. Teacher Xingming said that if all the evil spirits are eliminated in the future, he will definitely come back here to find me. As the child of Teacher Xingming, I believe that day will come, and Teacher Xingming will definitely succeed. Yuanyi was also very moved when he saw this scene. Well, there will definitely be such a day. In the near future, the once dilapidated temple once again welcomed an abbot. Many people said that the man was the monk of that year. There was often a girl setting up a stall on the roadside at the foot of the temple mountain, giving passers-by wisteria flower ornaments. After that, every dusk, she would sing a cheerful ballad and jump back to the temple before dark. Every time the girl returned to the temple gate, she would happily shout, "Teacher Xingming, I'm back." Of course, this is all later. After saying goodbye to Seo, Yuanyi also prepared to go to the flower street. At this time, the flower street was dominated by bright lights, wine, women and chaotic luxury. At night, the flower street would show her true side to the world. Uzui Tengen, who had transformed into a PR street youth's master, led the three little ones in the crowd. Listen, I am your god. Uzui Tengen was still following Tanjiro and the other two. You all must listen to me. Remember this first, keep it in mind. Say it one last time. I am a god. Looking at Uzui Tengen, who seemed to be going crazy all the way, the three little ones were too lazy to even complain. This guy is definitely sick. Zenitsu thought to himself. Then what exactly are you in charge of? Tanjiro asked. Tanjiro, what are you doing? Have you also been infected by this fool? Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Looking at Tanjiro, who asked the question, Zenitsu was speechless. Good question. You have a bright future. It was a stupid question. Where is the future? I am the god in charge of splendor. Everything will become gorgeous in my place. God of celebration. Uzui Tengen proudly made a pose to Tanjiro. It's stupid, right? It's definitely the god of stupidity. And the styling we gave him is gorgeous. Zenitsu stroked his face, which was more creepy than a ghost, and scratched his head. Yes, in order to sneak into the flower street, Uzui Tengen turned the three little ones into women, but the styling. It can only be said that they are just beginning to take on human form. At this time, Zenitsu didn't care about the makeup on his face. Looking at the various women around him, Zenitsu couldn't control himself. So many girls. Tisk. Uzui Tengen hit Zenitsu on the forehead with a knife, and then took them to the hidden station of the Demon Slayer Corps. Listen carefully, all of you. Uzui Tengen leaned over and assigned tasks to the three little ones. After sneaking into Yukaku, help me find my wife first, and I will also look for the traces of the ghosts. Inosuke was eating like crazy. Tanjiro was holding tea and listening to Uzui Tengen. Zenitsu was furious. This is outrageous. Zenitsu yelled at Uzui Tengen. Huh, can you stop joking? You're ordering us around for your wife. Huh, what do you understand? No, I have to say it. Looking at the two people arguing, Tanjiro hurriedly grabbed Zenitsu. Okay, Zenitsu. But Zenitsu was completely out of control. Although no one likes you. But, just because you want to marry a wife, you let us, the Demon Slayer Corps, go out. Zenitsu pointed at Uzui Tengen and yelled. Are you stupid? My wife has infiltrated Yugoku. She's collecting information about evil spirits. Because the regular contact was broken. I came here. Uzui Tengen was also furious. But Zenitsu looked at Uzui Tengen as if he was a fool. Is this a delusion in your head? You, this, jerk. Then Uzui Tengen threw a large number of letters at Zenitsu, and Zenitsu was knocked to the ground by this force. Here are all the information sent by my wife using the crow. With so many letters, your wife must have been lurking here for a long time, right? Tanjiro asked curiously. Because I have 3 wives, so. Hearing this, Zenitsu stood up and kept muttering. 3 wives. 3. You be asterisk 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 D. Why do you have 3 wives? What a joke. Zenitsu's face began to twist. Boom. With a loud noise, Uzui Tengen finally couldn't stand Zenitsu's chattering, and knocked Zenitsu to the ground with a punch. Do you have any opinions? Uzui Tengen looked at Zenitsu viciously. My 3 wives are all excellent ninjas. At that time, I found that Yukuo was a very suitable place for ghosts to hide. So I disguised myself as a guest and mixed in, but I couldn't find any clues. So my wife started to investigate from the inside, and they have now narrowed down the scope to 3 suspicious stores. All you have to do is find them in the store and receive information. Suma is in Tokito-ya. Maki is in Ogimoto-ya. Hinazuru is in Kyogoku-ya. At this time, Inosuke suddenly muttered something out of place. I'm afraid your wives are all dead. Ah. As soon as the voice fell, Inosuke also fell to the ground. On the other side, Kyogoku-ya. In the dim room, a beautiful figure sat in it. A sudden strong wind blew in the house, and a man in a suit and leather shoes appeared in the room. Daki, how are you recently? Muzan-sama. The upper string of the woman's eyes was clearly engraved. You've eaten a lot of people recently, and you've done well. Ah, Muzan-sama. At this time, Daki's face was full of unnatural drunken red, and he looked at the man in front of him with blurred eyes. In the past few years, you have killed 7 pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps. I am full of infinite hope for your future. Now there are some troublesome people in the Demon Slayer Corps, even Doma died in their hands. Daki, you must be careful. I understand. Don't be careless, there are also masters in the Demon Slayer Corps. Although we demons can distinguish the details of the pillars and others, people outside the pillars can't see it at all. Daki. Here. Daki responded to Muzan in a crisp tone, without the gloom at the beginning. I have great expectations for you. You are more beautiful and stronger than anyone else. Muzan gently stroked Daki's cheek. You can be even more cruel and powerful in the future. You are a special demon. At this time, Daki was like a docile pet, still being played with by Muzan. After Muzan left, a voice came into Daki's ears. Sister, please be quiet recently. Huh, so annoying. Why? You have been too active recently. Some members of the Demon Slayer Corps have noticed you. Although they have been controlled, they have also alarmed the Demon Slayer Corps. You heard what Lord Muzan said just now. Don't be careless. You know, even Lord Doma. It's just a pillar. I have killed 7 pillars. Brother, you are too timid. Besides, don't you want to avenge Lord Doma from the Demon Slayer Corps? Of course I know, but stop making a fuss. No matter how many pillars there are, I will keep them here forever. Daki. At night, Tokutoya. The owner and the proprietress of Tokutoya stared blankly at the 3 strange creatures in front of them. Ah, this is really a human form. No, it doesn't look very delicate. The boss couldn't help but wipe his eyes. He really didn't believe that there was such a strange-looking person. Sorry, my house really can't accommodate them. Seeing that the owner was about to refuse, Uzui Tengen quickly used the beauty trick on the boss's wife. Please be flexible. As long as the boss is willing to educate them, they will definitely be able to shine. He said and blinked at the boss's wife. Sorry. The boss wanted to refuse, but the boss's wife was already confused by the male beauty. Well, it's not a big problem to take one away. Then please take care of one. Thank you for your trouble, ma'am. The boss's wife, who was coaxed and lost, took Tanjiro, who looked the most honest, away directly. Guess what, buy one get one free. I will work hard. Tanjiro responded cooperatively. Kamado Tenko, confirmed to join the company. Then Uzui Tengen took the remaining 2 people to wander on the street. You are really useless. You can't even sell them for much. Uzui Tengen walked and scolded the 2. Whoosh. Crackling. At this time, Zenitsu's breath smelled of lightning. I won't be polite with you. Huh. Just because I asked you to wear women's clothes. Didn't I say that everything here must be done by me? It's not because of the women's clothing. It's because your face. B*******************. You are so handsome. What a joke. There are many girls chatting up when I walk on the street. I am so unwilling. You already have 3 wives. Apologize to me, B****************. Why are there so many people there? Inosuke said in confusion. Several people walked along the crowd and saw a team moving slowly. A gorgeous figure in the team attracted everyone's attention. Oh, it turned out to be the parade of the Ouran. Uzui Tengen explained. This is the process of the Ouran receiving customers. This person is the Ouran Koika of the then house. Inosuke squatted aside with great interest. If you walk so slowly, you can't survive in the mountains. But Inosuke suddenly felt something. He looked up and saw a woman staring at him as if she wanted to eat him. Let me take this child back, the woman said to Uzui Tengen. The visitor was the proprietress of Ogimotoya, which was exactly what Uzui Tengen wanted, so he immediately let the proprietress take Inosuke away. At this point, Inoko confirmed to join the company. Okay, the rest is. Uzui Tengen looked at Zenitsu with a look of disgust. It's troublesome, why not just send him out and not charge him? In the end, under Uzui Tengen's persuasion, Zenitsu was finally sent to Kyogokuya for free. The 3 of them officially started their mission. Tokumotoya. How could this happen? The proprietress screamed. With such a big scar on her head, how can she receive customers in the future? The proprietress kept pulling Tanjiro's collar and shaking her. Okay, at most, let her do some odd jobs, anyway, she has already been accepted. The boss tried to smooth things over. I will work hard. You can leave anything to me. Tanjiro assured the 2. Ogimotoya. As expected. So beautiful. The lady boss looked at Inosuke excitedly after he removed his makeup. I knew my eyes were right. Look at you after you take off all that messy stuff. What a delicate beauty you are. I will definitely train you to be the best courtesan in Yuguo, better than Kyogoku-ya's Warabihime and Tokito-ya's Koika. What did these people want to do? A piglet stopped thinking. Kyogoku-ya. Clang, clang. At this time, Zenitsu was playing the shamisen. The rapid but rhythmic sound echoed in the room. This kid plays really well. Well, I heard that her ears are very sensitive. She can reproduce any song she has heard once, but the appearance is a little. Zenitsu didn't think about these. Now in his mind, there was only the scene of Uzui Tengen throwing him into this store without even asking for a penny. Shame. The movements in his hands were getting faster and faster. If you look closely, you can even see flashes of lightning. This child will achieve great things in the future. The madam said to the others. Look at her expression and the aura on her body. That is the hatred for the man who abandoned her. Such a girl is powerful. In fact, this is exactly the case. Zenitsu no longer cares about the mission. What he thinks now is, I want to take revenge on that man. I will definitely become the best courtesan here to prove it to you. Hey, hey, hey. Is there something wrong? Chapter 49, Flower Street 2. Under the cover of night, a gorgeous figure traveled through Yugoku. The aura is completely concealed. This aura hiding ability, could it be an upper string? Uzui Tengen looked at the brightly lit Yugoku, and his thoughts drifted far away. I don't know what happened to those little ghosts. Tanjiro walked slowly towards the room with a pile of gifts on his head, and everyone passing by was amazed at his strength. Tanzi is so strong. That's right. Huh. After Tanjiro placed the gifts in his hand, he breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you for your hard work. Lixia's gentle voice sounded behind Tanjiro. Yes, come here. Lixia took out a small bag of snacks from her arms and put it in Tanjiro's hand. Tanjiro also stared at the snacks in his hand in a daze. Don't let anyone find out. Lixia said with a smile. Oh, I want it too. Oren's sister. Oren's sister. The two children on the side also came forward to act coquettishly when they saw this. No, you guys have already eaten. Lixia said softly. Excuse me, has Oren Suma run away? Tanjiro asked abruptly. At this time, Lixia looked at Tanjiro with a vigilant look, looking up and down. Why do you ask this? Ah, Tanjiro also reacted, the topic was too abrupt. She was on guard against me. A drop of cold sweat slid down Tanjiro's face. I must cleverly ask about Miss Suma. But it is well known that Tanjiro can't lie at all, not even the basic tricks. Tanjiro stared at the ceiling dully, cold sweat dripping down. Oren Suma is mine. My. Tanjiro's expression was completely broken at this time, and he could only clench his teeth and spit out a few words from his mouth. My sister. Ah. The three of them exclaimed in unison. Under Tanjiro's perfect performance, the three believed it. So after my sister was sold to Yuguo, were you also bought here? Yes. Yes. Tanjiro felt like she was about to break down. My sister and I have actually been exchanging letters. She shouldn't be the type to run away. Is that so? Lixia also agreed with Tanjiro's point of view. I don't think Suma is the type to run away, and judging from her behavior, she doesn't seem to be blinded by a man. But, Lixia changed the subject. Someone found her diary and said that it said she was going to run away. I see. Tanjiro thought about the information he got. Running away is indeed a pretty good excuse for a ghost. In Yuguo, running away is also a normal thing, and not many people will care. This diary should be used to cover up. Besides, who would leave their diary behind when running away, and it says they are going to run away. On the other side, Inosuke was struggling to walk through the corridor in a kimono. What a hassle. What a nuisance. Wearing this kind of clothes makes my senses dull, and it's so uncomfortable. At this time, the conversation in the corridor caught Inosuke's attention. I don't know if Miss Maki is okay. She has been locked in her room and won't come out. They were talking about Maki just now. That Uzui Tengen's wife. She said she was not feeling well and never came out, and she didn't go to see a doctor. I can only put food at her door. After getting the information, Inosuke couldn't wait to run out to find Maki's room. Ah, Zuzi, run slower, don't fall. Unexpectedly, Inosuke did not refute, but bowed politely. What a taciturn child. At this time, Inosuke's mind only echoed Uzui Tengen's warning. Your voice is too rough. You are absolutely not allowed to speak. Your falsetto is too bad. To be honest, people will know you are a man as soon as they hear it. That B********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Soon Inosuke found a room with a closed door and a plate of food at the door. Is this the place? This feeling. Inosuke rushed into the room without paying attention to anything else. The room looked messy, as if a fierce battle had taken place inside. No one. No. Inosuke looked up suddenly, up there. Alas. In Kyogoku's house, Zenitsu let out a long sigh. Why do I play the shamisen and the koto so well? Zenitsu sank his heart and listened to it to the maximum. Noisy sounds kept entering Zenitsu's mind. Woo woo woo. There's a girl crying. Zenitsu seemed to have touched a switch and ran towards the direction of the sound with a serious face. Following the sound, Zenitsu quickly found the target room, and the scene in front of him after opening the door made Zenitsu stunned. A messy room and a crying girl. What happened here? Zenitsu hurried to check on the girl. Fight. Did you fight with someone? The girl's face was covered with scratches, and big tears fell one by one. Are you okay? The girl did not come back, but buried her head and cried, which made Zenitsu panic for a moment, and hurriedly patted the girl's back to comfort her. Be good. Don't be afraid, I'm not angry with you, I'm sorry. If it's difficult. Boom. A palpitation suddenly came, and at this moment Zenitsu seemed to have a cardiac arrest. Hey, what are you doing in someone else's house? An emotionless voice sounded. Gurgle. Zenitsu swallowed hard, and his pupils shook violently. The one behind me must be a ghost now. This is not a human voice. I didn't notice her when she didn't speak. It turned out to be like this. It's not good. There is no sound at all. It's even more terrifying. This voice. And the voice of the ghost of the infinite train. This. Could it be the upper string? Yuan finally arrived at the outskirts of Yuguo after 2 days of rushing. It's night again. Yuan began to look for the scent of Tanjiro and the others, and saw a familiar figure just after he got on the roof. Hey, Mr. Uzui Tengen is here. Yuan gently patted Uzui Tengen's shoulder. This move scared Uzui Tengen. This guy, can't sense him at all. When did he come here? Mr. Uzui, what's the situation now? Yuan asked without hesitation. We are still investigating. Several of your disciples are lurking in suspicious places. Tomorrow is the day to exchange information. I understand. Where are they lurking now? I will go to investigate too. Kyogoku-ya, Tokito-ya and Ogimoto-ya. Uzui Tengen took out a map and marked 3 landmarks. Yuan looked at the circled locations thoughtfully, then looked at Yuguo, closed his eyes and sensed fully. After a while, Yuan suddenly opened his eyes. This place is really suitable for evil spirits. That kind of stench is really everywhere. Uzui Tengen was indeed confused when he heard this. Can you feel the evil spirits? I can't catch the breath of those ghosts at all. Ah, the places you marked for me are correct. The ghosts are indeed in those directions. It's almost dawn. First, Yuan's eyes suddenly condensed and looked in the direction of Kyogoku house. Mr. Uzui Tengen, there is a problem there. Yuan pointed to an empty space on the street. There. Are you sure? It can't be wrong. There is an uncomfortable feeling coming from the underground. It's also in the direction of Kyogoku house. Zenitsu is in trouble there. This place is left to you. Before Uzui Tengen could reply, Yuan disappeared in a flash. Really? It's not gorgeous at all. At the same time, Kyogoku house. Why is this room still so messy? Didn't I ask you to clean it up? Daki asked the girl in a cold tone. The girl was trembling at this time, not knowing how to defend herself. Looking at the girl in front of him, Daki walked forward with a gloomy face and grabbed the girl's ear casually. The girl screamed in pain. Shut up. Daki stopped the girl's cry. I'll take care of it now, please spare me. The girl begged for mercy in pain. A stream of bright red blood fell from the girl's ear. Seeing this scene, Zenitsu didn't care who the other party was, and directly stepped forward to grab Daki's wrist. Huh. Daki looked at the person who grabbed his wrist. Who are you? You look so disgusting. What's with your yellow hair? Are you trying to attract attention? Daki attacked Zenitsu with harsh words. Please let go. Zenitsu replied in a firm tone. Bang. Zenitsu was thrown away by a huge force, and Zenitsu hurriedly adjusted his posture before landing safely. Who allowed you to touch me? Feeling Zenitsu's breath, Daki was also thinking. This guy was not hurt at all after my attack, he must be a demon hunter. However, there is no breath of the pillar. Ah, it seems that you still need to be disciplined. Daki walked slowly towards Zenitsu as if he was going to continue to teach him a lesson. Warp Princess Orin. At this time, the boss of Kyogokuya was also attracted by the loud noise. The boss did not blame anyone, but knelt down in front of Daki. Please let her go, I will definitely discipline her strictly. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. At this time, the boss had no dignity in front of his employees. Now please, let her go for my sake. Daki turned his back to everyone at this time, as if thinking about something. Suddenly, Daki seemed to have changed his face, with only a faint smile on his face, without any harshness just now. Oh, I know the new kid is ignorant. Boss, don't kneel on the ground. I should apologize. It's just that there have been too many things that have gone wrong recently. Then he told the people around him, clean up the room. There are guests now. The boss was as if he had been pardoned. He hurriedly told everyone to clean up the room and took Zenitsu away. Daki turned around and left. Sister Zenitsu, are you okay? Zenitsu was placed in a utility room, and the girl who was rescued by Zenitsu asked with concern. I'm fine. Zenitsu gently stroked her slightly red and swollen cheeks. I'm sorry. Sister Zenitsu, I caused you to be beaten. It's okay, I'm glad I can help you. Zenitsu smiled and comforted the girl. By the way, I brought you some food, eat it quickly. And use this to apply on your face. The girl brought food and a towel to Zenitsu. Thank you, Sister Zenko. This is what I should do, and you don't have to blame yourself. No, Sister Zenko. The girl shook her head and said. Most of the people here don't care about others. This is the first time I've seen someone as kind as Sister Zenko. Zenitsu stared blankly at the girl in front of him. Yes, this is Yuguo. In a place like this, kindness is really a luxury. Then you have a good rest, Sister Zenko, I'll leave first. Well, thank you. Seeing the girl in front of him smile again, Zenitsu finally put his mind at ease. Zenitsu turned his head suddenly and looked over, and several scarlet belts rushed towards him. What is this? Without time to think, Zenitsu hurriedly dodged to the side. The belt failed to sneak attack, and the next moment it directly blocked the entrance and exit of the room. What to do? The knife is not around. The sound of these belts is not good. Find a way quickly. The belt attacked Zenitsu again. Zenitsu had no way to escape and closed his eyes in fear. It's over. Tear. The sound of fabric being torn came, and Zenitsu opened his eyes again, only to see the flying steps in the sky. A red figure stood in the middle. Thank you for your hard work. Zenitsu. That was Brother Yuan. Although it's a little late, but you did a good job, Zenitsu. Chapter 50 Flower Street Part 3. What kind of person is that? After a belt was broken, it revealed human eyes and mouth, which looked out of place. Hee, you ghosts are really all kinds of people, all disgusting. The belt ghost was furious when he heard this. Stop talking big, it's just a human. But Yuan didn't continue to argue with the belt ghost, and the belt that was flying in the air was directly cut into strips. Useless human, I'm not the real body, you can't cause effective harm to me anyway. Really? At this time, Yuan showed a meaningful expression. What's wrong? You have nothing to do. The belt ghost laughed at Yuan triumphantly, but soon the belt ghost couldn't laugh anymore. What's going on? The belt ghost suddenly felt that he had lost contact with his granary. What did you do, UB*******************. It seems that Uzui Tengen has found the missing people. Seeing that his goal was achieved, Yuan waved his knife casually, and a flash of fire flashed, and the belts on the scene turned into ashes. Quote. The belt was burned to ashes before he could say anything. Brother Yuan. Seeing the belt ghost turned into ashes, Zenitsu could no longer restrain himself and rushed to Yuan. I'm telling you, the ghosts here are really scary. That feeling is really killing me. If it weren't for Brother Yuan, I would definitely die here. It's really scary here. Looking at Zenitsu who kept complaining in front of him, Yuan could only comfort him softly even though his face was full of black lines. After all, Zenitsu was facing an upper-rank evil ghost this time. At this time, in a hidden corner, Daki felt the information from the belt ghost, and a cruel smile reappeared on his face. Finally, I've waited for you. 2 pillars came at once this time. 89-3. As long as I eat those 2 pillars, Lord Muzan will definitely value me more. Daki seemed to have thought of something, and his cold laughter echoed around. Daki, don't be careless. Remember the instructions of Lord Muzan, and be careful. It's so annoying, it's just the pillars again and again. We have killed more than 20 pillars, and these 2 pillars will not be an exception. BKT. The next day, the scheduled contact point. Inosuke and Tanjiro stayed on the roof early to wait. Tanjiro, I tell you, there is a ghost in my place. Inosuke exaggeratedly gestured the appearance of the belt ghost. Tanjiro looked at Inosuke who kept gesturing with a dull face. I don't understand it at all. You are still very energetic. A faint voice came from the side. Exclamation mark. The 2 immediately looked at the place where the sound came from, and saw Shui Sui Tengen and 3 women standing aside. When? And, who are they? Mr. Uzui, and, who are these people? They are my wives, and I finally found them last night. Uzui Tengen also introduced them to Tanjiro and the others. I'm Yuyu. Suma. Hina. Tanjiro also immediately greeted the others. I'm Kamado Tanjiro, and the one next to me is Hashibira Inosuke. It's our first meeting, please take care of me. Suma and the other 2 also smiled and responded to Tanjiro. Wow, you're here really early. Yuan suddenly appeared from the side, followed by Zenitsu. Master Yuan. And Zenitsu. Well, I haven't seen you for a few days, you look very energetic. Tanjiro was also surprised to see Yuan coming. I'm here to support you this time, and Mr. Uzui has found his wife. Well, I didn't expect that ghosts would hide people underground. This time I owe you a gorgeous favor. Uzui Tengen also thanked Yuan. After all, if Yuan hadn't reminded him, he didn't know what would happen to his wife. At this time, Zenitsu on the side was indeed looking at Suma and the other 2 with a dull look. While watching, he wiped his eyes. 3 wives indeed. So beautiful. Why? Is this a dream? Is this the dream of that B***************** D who has his head full of gorgeousness? I am. Zenitsu lost his dream at this moment. Looking at Zenitsu who seemed to have lost his color, Tanjiro asked with concern. Zenitsu, what's wrong with you? Are you not feeling well? Ah, Tanjiro, you are also in a dream, and this dream is quite real. Ha! At this time, Yuan clapped his hands to attract everyone's attention. Let's stop here for the reminiscence, and now let's exchange the known information. Everyone also began to sort out the information in their hands. Suma spoke first. First of all, I was attacked by the belt ghost one night after entering the target point for lurking, and I was caught because I didn't have time to react. Although it's shameful, I also lost consciousness without even being able to resist. Hinazuru also continued to speak. Seeing this, Tanjiro also began to sort out the information. After I was attacked by the belt ghost, it did not put me into the belt, but tried to get the information about the Demon Slayer core from my mouth, and injected me with poison, making me unable to move. If it weren't for Lord Tengen, I might have. Uzui Tengen also patted Tanjiro's shoulder to comfort him. Tanjiro also fell into the arms of Tengen. So cunning. I want it too. Suma and Hinazuru also fell on Uzui Tengen. For a while, Yuan and others present seemed to be forced to eat a mouthful of dog food. Jab. This is such a bad dream. At this time, the exploding scene in front of him made Zenitsu dazed. By the way, it seems that I can wake up after a stimulation. Let me see. Zenitsu seemed to be looking for something, and walked to the edge of the roof and was about to jump down. Zenitsu. Don't do anything stupid. Tanjiro hugged Zenitsu. What a real dream. Hee hee hee. Quote. Snap. Puff. Inosuke, who couldn't bear it any longer, gave Zenitsu a big smack. It hurts. Zenitsu, who felt the huge pain, woke up at this time. What are you doing, you idiot wild boar? Zenitsu was about to step forward and argue with Inosuke. Okay, silence. Yuan stopped the fight between the two, and then turned to look at the others. So, do you have any other information? Inosuke also hurriedly said. There must be a ghost where I am. He turned his hands back and forth to make the shape of a ghost. It's running around on the ceiling and underground like a snake. It must be eating people. Inosuke said confidently. The one who caught people should be the ghost that Inosuke said. Mr. Uzui rescued people last night. Yuan said on the side. Alas, so have we completed our mission? Tanjiro asked on the side. Of course not. There is a big one hiding in Yuguo. Zenitsu encountered her yesterday. Then Yuan turned his eyes to Zenitsu. Zenitsu, tell everyone about it. Zenitsu was also unusually serious. He organized his words and began to speak. The ghost has been hiding in Kyogokuya. Her identity among humans is Kyogokuya's Ouran, Warabihime. No wonder no one can find the ghost. After all, who would have thought that the Ouran who shows up every night would be a ghost? Yuan also nodded in agreement. Even if someone really suspected it, it is estimated that it would disappear the next day. In this place where there are all kinds of people, suddenly losing a few people will not attract attention at all. Uzui Tengen also agreed. The ghost entrenched here is likely to be an upper rank. You are not a pillar-level team member, so it is difficult to compete with it, and you may even lose your life. So the safest way is for me and Mr. Uzui to deal with the evil ghost, and you leave here as soon as possible. Yuan also said on the side. Uzui Tengen also looked at his wives. Hinazuki, Maki and Suma, you should also leave with Tanjiro and the others. This is not the place for you to stay. I won't leave. Inosuke was the first to protest. Master Yuan, we can help. Tanjiro also protested. If we leave because we are in danger, then why did we work so hard to become stronger before? Why did we become a member of the Demon Slayer Corps? Isn't it because we want to fight the evil spirits to the end and help more people that we will keep fighting? Zenitsu didn't say anything. Although he agreed to leave Yuguo, if he really left, he would really be ashamed to face his grandfather. In order to escape for life, he even left his companions behind. This kind of behavior. That's right, Master Tengen, don't be ashamed. Do you remember what I said? Uzui Tengen looked at his wives in front of him tenderly. Being alive is victory. In my eyes, you are the most important, followed by civilians, and finally me. Then at least let us provide logistical support. Yuan Yi looked at the determined people, and his eyes showed a look of relief. I understand, but you must promise me. Tanjiro and the other two were overjoyed to see Yuan Yi give in, and quickly agreed. Yes. First, it is forbidden to approach the center of the battlefield, which will only cause trouble for us. Yes. Second, no matter what, life is the most important thing. Yes. Third, engrave the first two in your mind. Yes. You too, remember to give priority to your own life. Don't hesitate to leave immediately when you encounter danger. Uzui Tengen on the side also told the three wives. 0. Yes. Master Tengen. Seeing that everyone reached a consensus, Yuan Yi continued. Now take a good rest during the day, and there will be a tough battle to fight in the evening. Quote. After returning to the room, Tanjiro began to remove his makeup. In the last minute, he still didn't want to hide it from Lixia, so after changing his clothes, Tanjiro quietly came to Lixia's room, where Lixia was putting on makeup for the night's work. Hearing the noise behind him, Lixia immediately turned around. Hey! Are you, Tenko? Lixia looked at Tanjiro in surprise, who was wearing the uniform of the Demon Slayer Corps. Yes, I'm sorry, Miss Lixia. Tanjiro apologized to Lixia first and handed her an envelope. I'm actually a man, my real name is Kamado Tanjiro. But Lixia was not surprised. I saw it a long time ago, but I was just a little confused. Tanjiro was also surprised when he heard it. Then why Miss Lixia? Because Tanjiro must have her own reasons. And you really care about Suma, right? Lixia smiled at Tanjiro. There is some money in this envelope. It is the fee for hosting me during this period. Please give it to the owner, Miss Lixia. Lixia took the envelope but looked embarrassed, and then said to Tanjiro, actually, I am also worried during this period. People have been missing, but I can't help at all, and I don't know what to do. Don't worry about this, Miss Lixia. Those missing people have been found yesterday. Now they are all safe, of course, Miss Suma is also. Tanjiro smiled and comforted Lixia. That's really. Lixia was relieved after hearing this, and then she started chatting with Tanjiro. Actually, I will leave here tomorrow. Alas, Miss Lixia is leaving Yuguo. Tanjiro was surprised. Well, actually, I didn't expect that someone would be willing to marry someone like me. How could it be? Tanjiro said to Lixia seriously. Miss Lixia is both gentle and beautiful. The one who can marry Miss Lixia is really lucky. Looking at the serious boy in front of him, Lixia also smiled. Thank you, Jiro. Night fell quickly, and everyone was waiting in their respective positions. Yuani felt the increasingly turbid breath of Yuguo, and the next moment, Yuani disappeared instantly. Found you. Yuani followed the breath to an empty room. At this time a figure had been waiting for a long time. Finally took the bait, the pillar of the Demon Slayer core. Daki looked Yuani up and down. The mark of the upper string 5 was particularly eye-catching, and Daki saw Yuani's face clearly with the candlelight. You have a good figure, but you are really not good looking, and your hair is still red. Are you trying to attract attention like that yellow-haired kid? The harsh words echoed in the room, but Daki still had no intention of stopping. And what's on your head? A secret sign. Jane. Daki seemed to be choked suddenly. 1.7 couldn't utter a word, looked at Yuani again, and the more he looked, the more familiar he felt. You guy, have we met somewhere before? Yuani smiled contemptuously. If we had met before, you wouldn't be here. Daki didn't dare to step forward easily at this time. Is this my memory? Why is it so familiar? No. Lord Muzan's memory. Why did Lord Muzan meet him? And this feeling that seems to penetrate into the cells, is it fear? How could Lord Muzan be afraid? Yuani looked at Daki who hadn't moved for a long time, and he lost his patience and flashed behind Daki. Daki subconsciously controlled the belt to attack forward, but suddenly found that he saw his own body. Yuani was also surprised by this. How could this upper-ranked ghost be so weak? He clearly felt that there was a strong momentum on his body, and he was killed in 1 second. Yuani also looked at the pupils of Daki, upper rank 5. That's right. Call out the real upper rank, the one in your body. You are so weak, how can you be an upper rank? At this time, Uzui Tengen also arrived here. Did you find the ghost? Yuan Yi casually pointed at Daki who was holding her head in confusion. Is it her? Don't be ridiculous, how can an upper rank be so weak? Looking at Daki who looked weak and helpless, Uzui Tengen didn't believe it at all. Who said it was her? The real upper rank is probably hiding in her body, waiting. Looking at the two people beside her completely ignoring her existence, Daki finally broke down. Who is weak? I am an upper rank. I killed 7 pillars, I am very strong. Then why was he beheaded in an instant? Uzui Tengen directly stabbed Daki. At this time, Daki completely broke down and cried loudly, as if someone's kettle was boiling. Oni-chan, brother. Chapter 51, Flower Street 4. Oni-chan. Daki's crying voice lingered in the ears of Yuani and the others, and they were stunned. Why are you crying again? Didn't you say upper rank? Uzui Tengen couldn't help but complain. Yuani pointed behind Daki. Look, the big one is coming. A black unknown object suddenly emerged from Daki's body, and then slowly turned into an evil ghost. The evil ghost was half hunched over, with black spots all over his body. He could be called a green-faced fang. His body seemed to have no muscles, just a piece of skin wrapped around bones, and the words upper rank 5 were engraved in his pupils. My poor sister, if your head falls off, you can just put it back on yourself. Don't cry anymore. It's a pity to cry with such a beautiful face. The evil ghost ignored Yuani and the others, but hugged Daki to comfort him. Your head is always missing a string. Ding! A bloody attack hit Yuani's sword fiercely. Seeing that his attack was easily resolved by Yuan Yi, the evil ghost was also a little surprised. You are really good, you can block this attack. The evil ghost seemed to look at the two people in front of him carefully, and spoke as if praising. You are really good, and you look good too. Your skin is so good, without spots or marks, you must be very popular with women. Unlike me, I can't grow any meat. The evil ghost scratched his forehead with his hand, but his hand became more and more powerful. You have a good figure and are tall. So jealous, so jealous, so jealous. The evil ghost seemed to have broken his defense, and one hand began to tear his skin hard, and blood marks appeared and healed quickly. Can you die? Die miserably. Let your skin be torn and then. At this time, Daki also complained to the evil ghost in front of him like a child. Brother, you must kill all those people. There were tears in the corners of the eyes of the fallen princess, as if she had suffered a great injustice. I'm working really hard to become stronger. I'm working so hard. I'm working really hard on my own. But these people are ganging up on me. The evil ghost also raised a pair of bloody sickles and said, Yes, you are really sinful. My cute sister who has a screw loose in her head is working really hard. I will kill all those who bully my sister. I will get back every penny I've been wronged. Count your debts before you die. Remember my name, Gyutaro. Gyutaro suddenly clenched his two sickles, and the sickles turned into a bloody disc and attacked Yuan Yi and the other two. The two who had been prepared for this knocked the sickles away. The bloody flywheel rushed out of the room and rushed towards the sky. At this time, the guards outside Tanjiro and his companions also saw the two bloody sickles. Is that a sickle? Isn't the weapon of a ghost a belt? What happened inside? Tisk. Let's go in directly. We can't do anything if we stay outside. Hearing the noise coming from the room, Inosuke couldn't control his temper. But Brother Yuani and Mr. Uzui have told us not to. How can we care about it now? Besides, there are ordinary people inside. We are just going to save people. Tanjiro, who was already panting, was also persuaded by Inosuke, and then several people rushed into the house. Leave it to me. Watch us make a big fuss. In the room, Tentaro looked at the two people in front of him with even more jealousy. Yuani and Uzui Tengen stood in front of Gyutaro, and behind them were ordinary people who were affected. He is so handsome, and he keeps ordinary people safe behind him. You must feel it. Quote. I'm so unwilling, so jealous. Why don't you just die? Looking at the crazy Gyutaro in front of him, Uzui Tengen also mocked. Of course, after all, I'm a gorgeous handsome man, and I even have 3 wives. Uzui Tengen seemed to be saying something insignificant, but Gyutaro on the opposite side was completely broken. 3 wives, are you kidding? Ah, I won't forgive you. All of you, die. Gyutaro swung the sickle in his hand, and the blood-colored air blades flew straight towards Yuani and the others. Yuani saw this and swung the Nichiren blades in his hand. The huge grip made the originally black blade turn red. The blood-colored air blade turned into nothingness on the spot after it touched the blade. But Uzui Tengen on the side seemed to be struggling. Seeing this, Yuani also reminded him. Mr. Uzui, hold the blade tightly with your greatest strength. As a pillar, you should be able to do it. Uzui Tengen also thought of it, and immediately held his double blades tightly, and the huge force body began to turn red. Oh, is this the red blade? What a gorgeous color. Then Uzui Tengen swung the double blades in his hand, and the blood-colored air blade that could only be barely resisted before could now be easily deployed. At this time, Uzui Tengen felt very good, and this feeling made Uzui Tengen unable to stop. Uzui Tengen just wanted to say, the gorgeous me fell in love with the gorgeous Hidao. Looking at Gyutaro who seemed to be powerless and furious in front of him, Uzui Tengen decided to continue to provoke it. Oh, by the way, my 3 wives are all as beautiful as flowers, talented and beautiful, and they all love me deeply. You are a guy who has been single until now. You don't even know what love is. At this time, not only Gyutaro, but also Yuani beside him felt that he was being mocked by Uzui Tengen gorgeously. Having a wife is great. Having 3 wives is great. What's wrong with being single? Is being single eating your rice? Single, woo. Uzui Tengen's words at this time directly hit the hearts of everyone present, and it was a fatal blow to Gyutaro. At this time, Gyutaro began to tremble constantly because of excessive jealousy. Ah, die, 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 Gyutaro roared at Uzui Tengen, raised his sickle and rushed towards him, ignoring Yuani who was standing by. Gyutaro kept swinging the bloody sickle to slash, and the blood blade like a cicada's wing rushed towards Uzui Tengen with great murderous intent. "Brother, I'll come too." Daki was about to rush up to resist, but found Yuani looking at her with a smile. Cricks. Before she finished speaking, Daki saw her body lying down again. Without any surprise, Daki lost his head again. "Be a little quiet, it will be your turn soon. Master Yuani." Tanjiro and others suddenly appeared behind Daki. "You guys, really?" Yuani couldn't help but hold his forehead with one hand. "Forget it." He casually threw Daki's head to Tanjiro, who also caught it in a panic. "Take this ghost's head away, the farther the better." Before Tanjiro and the others could react, Yuani quickly turned around and joined the battlefield. "I'm going to tear your face apart, and see if your wife will still like you." Gyutaro on the battlefield was furious, and at this time, the target of the sickle's attack even prioritized Uzui Tengen's face, wanting to disfigure the man in front of him. Gyutaro smiled strangely, and the sickle in his hand kept attacking Uzui Tengen in different directions. "This speed. Is this the upper string?" "This is the upper string 5. Facing Gyutaro's rain-like attack, Uzui Tengen was a little shocked, but the red sword in his hand still methodically resolved the attack. If Uzui Tengen only had one knife, Futaro could quickly kill him with another sickle when he blocked one sickle, but at this time Futaro was also facing an opponent using 2 knives. The battle was once in a stalemate. After another fierce collision, Futaro laughed sinisterly, and the blood on Jishidaro's body began to wriggle and separate. Not good. Uzui Tengen's pupils shrank, and at this moment he felt a huge threat. Without a moment's hesitation, he quickly distanced himself from Gyutaro. But at this time, the floating blood also surrounded Uzui Tengen. Whoosh! Uzui Tengen immediately took out several gunpowder bombs from his arms and threw them around, then quickly swung his knife to cut all the ammunition in half to produce a violent explosion. At the same time, the blood turned into sharp arrows and shot at Uzui Tengen. In the smoke produced by the explosion, Uzui Tengen appeared in front of Gyutaro in a somewhat embarrassed manner. Although the explosives blocked most of the attacks, he still had some injuries on his body. At this time, a pair of blood blades rushed out from the smoke again. Uzui Tengen was about to raise his hand to block it, but the 2 blood sickles suddenly changed direction, and he was about to be attacked from both sides. Round dance. A flash of fire passed by, and the blood sickle was picked up again, and then it spun back into Gyutaro's hand. Huh. Gyutaro turned his head to look at the person coming, and when he saw that it was Yuani, his eyes suddenly widened. Looking at Daki's previous position again, Tuan found that Sui had disappeared from the spot without knowing when. Chapter 52, Flower Street 5. Where's my sister? Gyutaro quickly turned his view to Daki, only to find that the scene in front of Daki was constantly receding, and a headless female ghost was chasing behind him. You are really capable. You can't kill them all like insects. At this time, Yuani and the others suddenly found that Gyutaro in front of them suddenly closed one eye. On the other side, a vertical pupil suddenly grew on the chest of the headless Daki who was chasing Tanjiro and others. After growing an eye, Daki's momentum suddenly increased a little, and began to approach Tanjiro and others quickly. Ah! Look behind, that ghost is catching up. Zenitsu screamed as he looked at Daki who was getting closer and closer. Daki's long belt began to chop towards Tanjiro and the other 3 in front, as if to chop everything into pieces. The sky full of belts seemed to cover the clouds and the sun. Tanjiro handed Daki's head to Zenitsu, who was the fastest, and then held the Nichiren blades tightly against Daki. The god of fire Kagura Yokato. Tanjiro rushed forward, the blade wrapped with flames like the sun, and the belt blocking Tanjiro was instantly torn in half. But facing so many belts, Tanjiro couldn't cut them all off. The house next to him was directly torn into several pieces like tofu after touching the belt. Ah! 293. What happened? My hand. Help! Countless screams came one after another, constantly stimulating Tanjiro's nerves. Tanjiro also fell to the ground, and the surroundings seemed like Rengoku in the human world. After training, Tanjiro can use the sun breathing fluently, but the loss is still greater than the water breathing. Beads of sweat began to drip from his head, and the survivors around him also came out to check the situation. Trouble. There are so many people around. Without time to think, Tanjiro kicked his legs hard, and the whole person flew into the air and quickly approached Daki. She must stop moving. This speed. Is he really not a pillar? Daki was also startled by Tanjiro's sudden attack, and then he hurriedly controlled the belt and slashed at Tanjiro at the same time. Pig rush. Inosuke suddenly jumped out from the side, wielding his two swords and splitting the belt in a burst of sparks. This ghost's belt is so hard. Tanjiro also seized the opportunity to swing the flaming Nichiren blades at Daki. Bafe. These damn guys. Daki raised his foot angrily and was about to kick Tanjiro away, but Tanjiro was still faster. The fire flashed, and Daki's thigh was immediately broken. At the same time, Daki also found that he could not regenerate, as if something was preventing him from recovering. The burning sensation made Daki scream in pain, which made Zenitsu, who was holding Tsuji's head, jump. The injured Daki began to attack the surroundings indiscriminately, and the surrounding buildings suddenly turned into ruins. Oops. Tanjiro looked around hurriedly, but found that except for the collapsed buildings, it was surprisingly quiet. Where are the people inside? Swish, swish, swish. There were several sounds of iron cutting through the air, and kunai kept stabbing at Daki. Daki, who lost a leg, was stabbed by several kunai on the spot. Who is it? Tanjiro looked in the direction where the kunai were shot, and saw Hinazuru standing on the eaves, staring at Daki, holding a box full of kunai in her hand. Tanjiro. Focus on fighting. We have evacuated the nearby residence and rescued the injured Suma and others. Miss Hinazuru. Tanjiro looked at Hinazuru in surprise, and now he can finally fight freely. But Daki in front of him seemed to have lost his strength and fell to the ground, but it was true. It hurts. I can't use my strength. Why? Daki felt his weak body, and felt like he had turned back into a human body, weak and weak. The place that was cut seemed to be burning with flames. Inosuke, help me cut off her belt. Tanjiro did not give Daki a chance to breathe. He cooperated with Inosuke to gather all the belts on his body together, and then Inosuke fiercely nailed the belt to the ground. Tanjiro. At this time, the flames soared into the sky and turned into a giant dragon of fire. The dragon roared and rushed towards Tsuji's belt. God of Fire Kagura Dragon of Halo Head Dance. The dragon's head slammed into Daki's belt, and the belt turned into ashes in an instant, but the dragon still did not stop, but rushed straight towards the rest of Daki's body. No. At this time, Daki finally felt the fear again, but at this time the dragon had already passed through Daki's body. How could I be killed by a few guys who were not even pillars? Daki completely lost the ability to move, but in order to prevent Daki from regenerating, Hinazuru still stabbed the remaining kunai into Daki's body. On the other side, Gyutaro, who lost an eye, looked even more embarrassed. Ding! The sound of the sickle and Nichiren blades colliding, Futaro has begun to collapse. Barely avoiding the slash, the next moment Yuan Yi has removed Gyutaro's arm. Damn it! There is a huge burning sensation on the arm, and it can't be regenerated. Brother, don't let these two guys behead you. Daki's voice suddenly came to his mind. Until now, Gyutaro realized that even if he shared his power with Daki, Daki was still defeated and even lost his head. Gyutaro was terrified, and the shadow of death enveloped Gyutaro. But at this time, 3 knives were already on Gyutaro's neck. Give me. Gorgeously, disappear. The knife flashed, and Gyutaro's head flew into the air. But Yuan Yi did not put away the knife, and chopped Futaro's body with his backhand. A flash of fire passed by, and Gyutaro's body was split in half on the spot, and after a while, it began to turn into ashes. The same happened to Daki on the other side. Tanjiro and the others finally breathed a sigh of relief as they watched Daki gradually turn into ashes. We won. Tanjiro suddenly remembered something, walked to the ruins nearby, and took out the blood-drawing needle from his arms to collect blood. Just after collecting the blood, Chachimaru suddenly appeared from a corner, and Jiro put the blood into Chacha's backpack. Chachimaru shouted and disappeared into the ruins with a few jumps. Chapter 53, The End of Flower Street. After the death of the Daki siblings was confirmed, Tanjiro and his companions finally relaxed. Several people collapsed to the ground in relaxation. At the same time, Yuan and Uzui Tengen also led the hidden troops towards Tanjiro and his companions. The matter of the flower street was finally resolved. After running around for several days, Yuan was also tired. Unexpectedly, the snake pillar also arrived at the scene. Everyone was quite familiar with this snake pillar, especially Tanjiro. In Tanjiro's eyes, the snake pillar was very annoying and had a sharp tongue. "Hey, you are still alive." As expected, they were sharp-tongued as soon as they met. "It's just an upper string, Uzui, you are so embarrassed. But after all, it's an upper string, so I still praise you." Then Iguro Obanai looked at Tanjiro on the side. Iguro Obanai had no good impression of Tanjiro since the first time they met. In his eyes, Tanjiro was a rebel who was in league with the devil, but it was beyond his expectation that Tanjiro could survive this battle. "But since you guys can survive, it's not impossible for me to recognize you a little." This guy. Sure enough, he was still very angry. "Xiao Banai, you are still so unfrank. This is not gorgeous at all. Recognition is recognition. Anyway, I recognize these little guys. Yes, Mr. Iguro, it would be better to be frank. Sister Mitsuri will like you more this way." Yuan Yi's words seemed to hit the vital point of Iguro Obanai, and his face turned red. Who, Kanroji, likes. Ah, are you shy, Mr. Iguro? This is a rare spectacle in a century. I really want everyone in the Demon Slayer Corps to see it, hehehehe. At this time, Iguro Obanai completely lost the indifference when he came, and looked at Yuan in front of him fiercely. "This is Kanroji Mitsuri's junior brother. You have to hold it in. No, I can't stand it anymore. Strangle him, Kabirumuru." Iguro Obanai gave orders to the white snake that was entrenched on him, and Kabirumuru also cooperated by sticking out his tongue. At this time, the box behind Tanjiro also made a sound, and the miniature version of Nezuko appeared in front of everyone. "Is this your sister? So cute." Seeing the little Nezuko appear, the women present couldn't help but overflow with maternal love. Suma even picked up Nezuko and chewed her. Looking at the crazy and Nezuko sticking to each other, Tanjiro couldn't say it, and it was not right to not say it. Finally, Kangyu couldn't stand it anymore, and hit Suma on the head with a knife. "It hurts. Suma, you idiot, put the girl down." She was scared. Suma, who was beaten, immediately hid in Uzui Tengen's arms with tears in his eyes for comfort. "Tengen-sama, Kangyu bullied me, woo-woo-woo. Okay, don't make trouble." Uzui Tengen touched Suma's head. Uzui Tengen was also very familiar with the three wives, and then turned to look at Tanjiro and others. "Why don't you guys become my stepsons? I'll make you even more gorgeous." Before he finished speaking, Uzui Tengen found that the air around him suddenly became quiet, and a hand suddenly rested on his shoulder. Mr. Umatsu. Yuan Yi, who was standing by, looked at Uzui Tengen kindly. Question mark. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. At this time, Zenitsu also rushed back to the scene, but Daki's head in his hand was still slowly disappearing. Is this the upper string? Is his vitality so tenacious? Looking at Daki in front of them, everyone sighed. You ugly freaks. What are you looking at? Go to hell. All of you go to hell. Daki was still yelling even though he had only one head left. You were once a human, right? Why do you persecute humans without any guilt? You. Tanjiro looked at Daki and asked. Shut up. Daki interrupted Tanjiro's question. It's so annoying. Who remembers the past? What does it have to do with me if they die? Ghosts are superior to humans. They don't age. They don't die. They don't lose anything. To humans, ghosts are gods. Of course you can do whatever you want to them. Daki was not shaken by Tanjiro's words. At the last moment of her life, Daki recalled the memories of humans that she once couldn't bear to look back on. She was beaten and scolded since she was a child, and was thrown away. She was hungry and cold every day, and her brother was also tortured. In the end, she was burned into a half-human and half-ghost appearance because of people. My pain was brought to me by humans. After my struggle was fruitless, it was the ghosts who gave me a new life. Humans, such weak creatures, will have nothing to do with me. Whether in this life, the next life, or even in hell, I will be a ghost. At the last moment of her life, Daki said this and stopped arguing with everyone. She closed her eyes and felt Gyutaro's breath. Brother, I'm sorry. In the ruins not far away, Gyutaro seemed to feel something, and his eyes were fixed on Daki's direction. May. Yes. My sister is not called Daki. The name Daki is really ugly. In reluctance and regret, Gyutaro and Daki completely disappeared from this world. Actually, the name May is not very nice. The members of Cage have already started to clean up the scene. Because Daki and Futaro were dealt with in time, Yugoku was not destroyed on a large scale. Even if the entire Yugoku is destroyed, the Yoshiki clan can quickly create another Yugoku. Zero ask for flowers, Zero. This kind of scene is nothing to Ubuyoshiki now. Butterfly House. Everyone who returned to Butterfly House was being examined, and Uzui Tengen went to the Poen Han flag to ask about his well-being. Looking at the wounds on Uzui Tengen's body, Suma and the others were heartbroken. Zenitsu on the side looked at this scene with his eyes blank. Why do I feel so much pain when I'm not injured? Ah, it seems to be my heart. It hurts. It hurts so much. Yeah ha ha ha. This time I defeated an upper rank. Upper rank. Do you know an upper rank? It's a super powerful demon. Inosuke was boasting about his achievements to everyone in the Butterfly House. Really? So powerful. The three little ones also looked at Inosuke with admiration. It's just a weak chicken. I guess his real strength is not even that of an upper rank. Quote. Iguro Obanai on the side said. Hey, you bandage man, have you ever fought against the upper ranks? We have, and the upper ranks are very strong. FFLX. Inosuke jumped onto the table excitedly and pointed at himself with his thumb. We are also very strong. You haven't even fought against the upper ranks. Iguro Obanai's veins popped up when he heard this, but he had no way to deal with Inosuke. Because this time Iguro Obanai really didn't catch up with the support, and the battle was over when he waited for Tianyu. At this time, listening to Inosuke's ridicule, he felt like he was stabbed a few times. Why? Why can't I meet the upper ranks? Looking at Inosuke again, Kagaya's voice rang in Iguro Obanai's ears. Don't be too harsh on the lower-level swordsman. So, HX. Seeing that Iguro Obanai didn't refute, Inosuke was even more proud. This was one of the few times he didn't get retorted. Tanjiro is too gentle, Zenitsu is too timid, and Yueni can neither fight nor defeat him. On the other side, Ubuyoshiki Kagaya was very excited after receiving the news, and even felt that the pain in his body was relieved a lot. After defeating the upper rank 5, plus Doma and all the lower ranks before, Muzan's minions are not many. Muzan, this time, you can't escape. Then Kagaya took out an envelope. Amane. Lord Kagaya. Kagaya handed the letter in his hand to Amane and spoke slowly. Please give this to Miss Tamayo, I have something to discuss with her. After Amane responded, she tied the envelope to the crow. Then the crow cried and flapped its wings to fly to the sky 6. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audio Wave to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.